Hi, this is Dennis with Second Chance Tackle. Every now and then I get to work on an unusual reel. I did a YouTube short on this one, and we're going to show you how to take it apart and service it. This is a Fre Line reel. It was made in Boulder, Colorado, and I can't find much beyond that other than what's marked on the reel and patent pending. But this is an unusual reel. It is in the style of the round bait caster, spin caster, but it shares characteristics with a fly reel, and that's because these reels were designed to be mounted on fly poles and fished underneath. So you would have it on your fly pole, you would let your line out, and then you would retrieve your line as such. It's not the only one. Here's one I found from Johnson. It was actually sent in to me by one of our viewers just because they knew I would appreciate an unusual reel. And again, similar characteristics. The idea is it's mounted underneath, and in this case you have a release where you push the button in, let the line out, and then it pops back like you would expect to see maybe on a Zebco or other spin casters. This one's a little bit different. You can't find the button here to release. What you actually do with this one is you turn the handle backwards. That releases the pin and allows you to pull the line out. I don't know if you can see that on the video. And then when you pedal forward, the pin comes back out. And we'll show you when we get underneath that. Now, I haven't worked on this one. This is always fun because you're kind of flying a little bit by night. But we'll see what we do without radar too, if I may comment with that. So one of the things I always encourage you to do if you're working on a reel that you have little knowledge about, maybe understand a little bit about the principles behind it but don't know what you're going to expect to find underneath, well, the best thing to do is take some pictures, and that'll give you reference points along the way to help you reassemble should you get stuck. And we may get stuck here. We're going to find that out. Okay, so let's take a look at the housing, and let's see if we can't get started on this. So the first thing I'm going to try and do is remove the plate. I don't see any pinholes here. Normally you would see an indentation like this, a little pock mark or something that says it's being held in kind of as a screw. I'm thinking that this might just be pressure fit in there. It seems to be an aluminum case, and I think what if we do is if we just kind of pull down on the one side, that should free the case. Well, sometimes it does, and I guess sometimes it doesn't. Oh, there we go. I had to use a little bit more strength, but the case is off. It wasn't a screw case at all. I guess I'm trying to leave that line on there. Maybe I should just take that line off, and maybe with Bobby's seeing this video, he'll know how to put it back on if he has any question about that. And just put a drop of penetrating oil in there and get a paper towel to clean the inside of the bowl of this while I'm at it. And that was a nice color when it was originally brought out. I mean, it's showing the wear on the outside now, but that's a beautiful burgundy cherry color on the inside of this one. But the outside obviously shows the portions of wear. Okay, what do we have here then? We have that assembly, and I think we'll probably find out. This is probably in free spool now. Remember what I said, if you back it, you pull the pin in, or you should. And if you go forward, yep, there it is. The pin is coming out now. So backwards it retracts, forward it pushes in. And that's just sort of like the same free spool type release with the other modern spin casters. What you find with the other ones is that, well, this would be the top view of the reel as opposed to the side view of the reel. And the trip mechanism is a little bit different, but so be it. All right. Underneath here, I'm not sure there's anything going on. I think everything is going on over here on the case, but we can take a look. Let's grab a wrench. Looks to be a 10mm wrench. It's a good place for a picture, and that picture may help you if things fall apart or if you can't quite figure it out. All right, before we go much further, I want to encourage you to subscribe to my channel. If you do subscribe to my channel, please use the notification button to let you know when I'm posting. I'm posting on all kinds of videos, and this is, quite honestly, this is a rather unique video for my channel. I don't normally work on these types of reels, but Bobby sent it to me. Seems like fun, and I thought we'd do a video on it. All right, we should be able to lift up now to get this removed. And one of the things I'm noticing is that we have two little tag ends here, and they correspond with the tag ends here. So when we go to remount, we're going to want to do that. Let's just take a moment to take a look. This appears to be pressed onto the axle shaft. You can see the serrated, I can see, maybe you can't, see the serrated pieces here that would say that's a pressed in piece. So I think we're probably going to leave that. Maybe or maybe not, that it's possible that that can be removed if needed, but it looks like that's holding in the top of a spool, and the back plate here is actually acting as the bottom of the spool, because that's how I see the line gathered there. And what I'm going to do is just, there seems to be a little bit of dirt that's infiltrated that case. So let's go do what we normally do. Let's just use a little bit of penetrating oil to just kind of dissolve that dirt and grease there and get that out of the way. This looks like it's an aluminum case. And I don't know, I checked the Orca site quickly. I didn't find anything on this particular model or manufacturer, other than to say it's an American-made reel, and if I was to estimate it, probably the 1950s. But beyond that, I know very little about this one. And I guess when I'm done, I'll know how to service it, or I'll know how to mess up the servicing on it. I'm not quite sure which one is yet to come here. All right, well, we cleaned up the inner disc of that. I'm going to leave the line on. I'm going to recommend to Bobby that he go ahead and, well, take care of it. I don't believe we need to do anything in here, so let's just go put this assembly back. We showed you how it works. I'm looking for the two holes here. That's going to help with the mounting because I want to be in that area there. And right now I'm looking for a mesh point on this so that this whole, there you go, so that the whole piece can drop down. Put that down, we're going to put the nut on. And tighten it as much as you can. The nut's that's clearly attached to a gear over here, so what I'm doing is I'm just kind of tightening that as much as I can. That's how I found it. And then again, let's just make sure that it works. Turn it right and the pin is out to gather the line. Turn it backwards, the pin comes in, so we did no harm. All right, let's take this and just put this case back on. I believe the rest of it is going to be serviced from the exterior. That's kind of the way it was with this. Almost all the gearing was right with the handle and the two screws on this. So I'm going by kind of educated guess here. All right, I'm going to just line that up so it's parallel to this. And we should just be able to press that back in. There you go, a nice tight fit. And I guess we can go ahead and wind that in like we found it. Let's go over to the gear side then and see what treasures await us behind here. I'm going to take off the handle cap. It's a nut cap. And while I'm doing this, I want to encourage you to subscribe to my channel. I already did that for a host of reasons. And it helps you and it helps me. And one of the things that kind of goes along with that, if you ask the questions in the comment section, I do try to respond to you. So ask questions, and maybe you want to know a little bit about the history of the reel. I kind of told you all the history I know about this particular reel, but maybe you want to know about why these things came into being or why they went away. Kind of a hybrid reel. And maybe you're working on a reel that has nothing to do with this, and you're stuck and you need help. Well, by all means, ask, and I'll see if I can't get you unstuck. 2 screws and the handle have been removed. This little plate should just come off. It does. And a very, very simple gear structure here. Well, this is the back end of what we saw had the pressed piece on it. So I was thinking maybe there would be a screw or something holding it in that you can push that shaft through. There isn't. So I guess the only way to remove that other side of it is to remove the pressed piece off of the shaft here if you need to do that. All right, this looks like it just lifts off. I don't see any screw there. And, well, what you want to do now is just kind of clean up the dirt. So we'll kind of do the same thing we just did. Very light coating of penetrating oil there. I'm going to use a 4-0 steel wool just because it looks like maybe that's just wear from the collar. Kind of probably shifting in and out, but we're getting rid of that. That would be the dirt that just accumulates and settles in that little crevice there. Over time, right? It's not watertight. It's not in any way sealed. So when those two pieces of metal are just butting up against each other, that's what you're going to get. I just want to see if this is grease or what this. That's some old dried grease there. I'll get that off as well. I'm using a pick for that. And I'll just do a little bit more of a spray here. Examining the teeth look fine. This is one of those reels where you don't have any drag system in it. The drag system is your hand strength. And then we'll just make sure that this shaft is clean as well. All right, the service itself is actually pretty easy, right? We just want to put fresh grease in here. Fresh grease onto the drive gear for the plate assembly. And fresh grease underneath on that shaft. And then fresh grease onto the main gear here that's going to be operated by your handle. Simple design wins. So I guess what was happening is the advent of these reels and the crossover to fly fishing, they found the hybrid market for that. All right, then check underneath, make sure that the cap on inside is clean. There's a little bit of pooled dried grease in there, so let's get that out. And we can just go ahead and put that back on. And I was going to say, look for where that that little logo is in order to square it up, but there's only one way this case can go on, given that you have the 3 holes in it, the big one being for the main gear. All right, we're just going to grab the screwdriver here, put this one on. And I like to start it, but I don't like to tie it down, because every now and then these things need a little bit of wiggle room or play in it to get that second screw in. So I like to just keep that doing as best I can. I mention Dick every time I go to use this tool. Thank you again, Dick. This is a little screw holder and a screw starter, and he sent it to me knowing that I struggle with these small things, and boy, that fixes that in a hurry, doesn't it? All right, one more here. Tighten it down now. Now we got the handle. I think that this is probably somewhat of a generic handle, and I would probably try to go and find the replacement. You got a lot of play here. The rivets popping out of that one. I don't know. This one's bent on this side, but when I get a reel in like this, and it's not mine, I don't get adventurous in trying to straighten anything out. I can go to the owner if the owner so chooses to do something like that. Or just live with it and call it the character marks of a long time fishing. All right, let's put that back on, tighten this down. And again, the way that this reel will operate is that you backpedal the reel, turn it towards you, that releases the line. And then when you move forward, as you saw a little bit of tension on the line, I assume, as you move forward, it will gather the line back in. Hopefully you've seen that. You should see that little weight coming up now and back in. So there you go. Interesting little reel designed for fly rods, and probably in the 1950s. And if anybody knows a little bit more about the Fre Line company out in Boulder, Colorado that made this reel, let us all know. To our first responders and essential personnel, thank you for everything it is that you do to keep us safe. Your efforts truly are appreciated. And to everyone, please stay safe, stay well, and stay watching. This is Dennis with Second Chance Tackle. Have a great day.